in the small, sleepy town of Elmsworth, where cobbled streets met wildflower fields and the air smelled of pine and rain, lived a 14-year-old girl named Lura. Elmsworth wasn't famous for anything in particular. It had a clock tower that chimed every hour, a bakery that served cinnamon buns before sunrise, and neighbors who knew each other's dogs by name. Life was slow, almost poetic, but Lura's mind danced far ahead of her surroundings. She lived in a modest wooden cottage on the edge of town, surrounded by whispering trees and a clear view of the night sky. That sky was her canvas, her secret world. Every night, after she finished her homework and washed the dishes, she would climb up to the roof with a blanket, a small notebook, and a telescope held together with tape and hope. She waited there for falling stars. To others, shooting stars were just flashes of light. But to Lura, they were signs, whispers from the universe, promises that dreams could travel faster than the speed of light. She would close her eyes and make a wish every time one streaked across the sky. "I'll be out there one day," she'd whisper, "and I'll find my place among the stars." Lura wasn't just a dreamer, she was brilliant. She read science books under her desk during class and could recite the names of all the moons of Jupiter. Her dream was to study astrophysics abroad, in a university with giant observatories and scientists who understood her language of curiosity. But her world wasn't only made of dreams, it was also made of love. The most important person in her life was her grandfather, whom she lovingly called Grandpa Theo. He had raised her since she was a toddler, after a tragic car accident took her parents. With soft grey eyes and hands worn from years of woodworking, Grandpa Theo was both her anchor and her wings. Every morning, he'd make her hot chocolate before school. Every night, he'd sit beside her on the roof, wrapped in an old sweater, listening to her talk about black holes, wormholes, and galaxies far away. "Your mind's made of stars, Lura," he would say with a smile. "I just hope this old man can keep up with it." She'd laugh, lean her head on his shoulder, and reply, "You're the reason I can even dream this big." But as the days passed, the weight of her dream began to grow heavier. One afternoon, a letter arrived. It was from the International Science Scholars Program in Switzerland. She had applied in secret, pouring her heart into every word of her essay. With trembling hands, she opened the envelope, accepted, full scholarship. The world blurred for a moment. Her heart soared and then sank, because across the room sat Grandpa Theo, whittling wood as always, humming an old tune. The thought of leaving him behind cracked something inside her. That night, she didn't go up to the roof. Instead, she sat beside her grandfather on the porch. "Grandpa," she said quietly, "what if chasing your dreams means leaving someone behind?" He paused, put down his carving, and looked at her. "Then you don't leave them behind," he said. "You carry them with you." Tears welled in Lura's eyes. "But who will take care of you? What if you get sick? What if you miss me too much?" He took her hand, rough and warm. "I'm not afraid of being alone," he whispered. "I'm afraid of you staying behind because of me. You're meant for bigger skies, Lura. Don't shrink your world to fit me in it. I'll be fine, and I'll be proud, so proud, to see my little girl shine." She threw her arms around him and cried. The kind of cry that makes you feel both broken and whole. From that day on, preparations began. Grandpa Theo taught her everything she needed to live on her own: how to cook, how to sew a button, how to keep a list of important phone numbers. They filled out visa forms together, packed suitcases, laughed, cried, and sat on the roof just like always. On the night before her departure, Lura found a small wooden box on her bed. Inside was a hand-carved compass and a letter. "Dear Lura, you've always looked to the stars, but never forget where you came from. This compass won't guide you to galaxies, but it will always point to home. When you feel lost, remember this. Your heart knows the way. Love always, Grandpa Theo." At the airport, she clung to him for as long as she could. He whispered, "Go chase your stars. I'll be right here, cheering you on." And she did. Lura's world exploded with color and light. In Switzerland, she studied under some of the best minds in the world. She saw real observatories, used telescopes that made hers at home look like toys, and spoke about galaxies to people who understood. But every night, she called Grandpa Theo, even if just to hear his voice say, "Good night, my star girl." Years passed. Lura became a published researcher before she turned 20. She was invited to conferences, spoke on panels, and inspired other young girls to dream fearlessly. But no matter how far she went, her heart was still anchored in Elmsworth. On her first visit back home, the townsfolk gathered to welcome her. Elmsworth hadn't changed much, but Lura had. She hugged Grandpa Theo tight, and they climbed the old roof one more time. "I did it, Grandpa," she said. He smiled. "You did more than that. You lit up the sky." Many years later, Lura stood on a stage in front of thousands, receiving an award for her discoveries in deep space research. Cameras flashed, the crowd stood, but her voice shook as she said, "I dedicate this to my grandfather, the man who gave me the sky and the courage to fly through it." Somewhere far away, in a little town called Elmsworth, an old man looked up at the stars, smiling through tears, and above them all, the sky shimmered just as it always had.